again. We're on our way to one of our local community gardens, and we're going to go ahead and check out what we have. I got my camera crew with me, Sierra and Sophia, and yeah, so let's go. Alright, so we're here in the East Utica Community Garden, and we're going to take a look at some of these beds that we have this year. We actually have a lot less participants than we did last year, but we still have a lot of community action going on here, which is a great thing. So in this bed, this is number 18, we have some little cherry tomatoes. These are looking quite well. See, I mean, some of these need to be suckered, so I recommend that, but I'm not going to sucker these plants because they're not my own. But we got some nice flowers, and of course we always want to spank our tomatoes. Alright, and pretty soon they're going to want to do some type of staking or trellising on these tomatoes to get the best results so that they don't start drooping over. Over here next we have a beautiful head of cabbage. The head is coming along quite well. We got a little bit of holes from bugs eating it up, but it's not too bad. I think it's looking pretty well. They would do well to put a little dish soap and water on here to dissuade the bugs from eating it. Next we have this beautiful, great big expansive thing of spearmint, and I mean, man, it just smells so great. Oh, and it tastes great too.
Really does.
Alright, let's take a look down here. Oh, we got some more tomatoes. And look, these are producing quite well. As you can see, there's multiple things of tomatoes on here. A lot of flowers. They don't seem to be falling off, so that's great. A great trick for if your tomato blossoms tend to be falling off is to spray them with 100% apple juice just from a little sprayer. Alright, and here we have some great sunflowers going on. These haven't blossomed yet, but I'm sure they will too. However, if you take a look in here, we have the dreaded squash beetle. Alright, and you want to be careful of those. Once again, some soap and water is a great thing to prevent infestations. See, we got another one over here. Gotta be really careful of these. This looks a little bit infested, but just with a little bit of work, that could be easily prevented. Now see here we have a couple of beds that have been abandoned. They were planted early this year and nobody has been taking care of this. And this is where a lot of people could jump in and be part of your community and take care of these beds. And it doesn't only help feed you and your family, but it helps feed the whole community. What's good for the community is good for you. But see, even with this abandonment, we have a lot of great things here. We got some type of a berry bush over here. We got a lot of sunflowers. And in another couple months, there's going to be some really nice sunflowers on here. And if you take a look over here real close, you can see there's tons of bees. Bees are pollinating these flowers everywhere, which is a great thing. Bees are one of the greatest pollinators that we have on this earth. This is another bed that has been abandoned, and I may actually start coming and taking care of this bed because I love tomatoes, and these definitely need some TLC. But if you take a look, they're definitely a small variety of tomato. Oh, actually, maybe not. Look at this. If this had unfurled and it was staked up or caged, this would be already, I don't know, maybe about 3-4 foot tall. But as you can see, it's been allowed to drop over and grow along the ground, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, some people don't mind their tomatoes growing along the ground. I don't particularly like it for my own. I like to stake my tomatoes, and I like to sucker them as well, as you know. But this is another great example of how you can become part of your community. Alright, I wanted to show you this bed because it's just another great example of that you don't need to have anything great and fancy in order to grow your garden sufficiently. And if you take a look, this is their staking method. All they did was they cut a branch with a Y in it and they stuck it in the ground. And take a look, they have these beautiful tomatoes growing. I mean, these may be aroma tomato. They're already larger than a cherry tomato. So I'm not sure exactly the variety of these. They definitely should have found some taller sticks because they have started drooping over. But once again, that's okay if that's fine with you. But look at how many great, beautiful tomatoes are already on here. Also in this plot, they also have a couple of these nice sunflowers. These are a really great plant. They're both decorative, and of course you can eat the sunflowers when they grow up, and you can cut the flowers off if you want to put in your home. And if you take a look in here, you can just see how beautiful and sturdy these plants are. It's just amazing. Oh, and see, we already have, these are an early tomato, and you can tell because look, this one is already starting to ripen. These are going to be absolutely beautiful. All right, now over here we have a few things that actually can be pulled up out of the garden. You always want to know when to plant different types of plants, fruits and vegetables in your garden, and this is why. This is a beautiful leaf variety of your lettuce, but look, it's bolted. All right, and what that means is that it has grown a stalk up and it's putting out flowers. All right, if you want to just use these plants at this point, you can let them go ahead and flower, and then you can have the seeds for next season. All right, and actually lettuce is great because it's a quick growing plant and you can usually get 2 harvests out of it. So the fall season will be great for this as long as they harvest these seeds. Another great thing I wanted to point out on here is that they have these marigolds. All right, marigolds are a great bug repellent. All right, and these are a great thing to interplant throughout your fruit and vegetables so that bugs will stay away. Then you don't have to use any type of harsh chemical. And if you take a look in here, we have some onions in here. They're planted very close together, so they'll be more like chives, but oh man, are they really good. You know, you just take a few of these, chop them off and bring them into your house, and they'd be great in a salad, for cooking, anything you want.
Actually, there's a lot of them around. Like, see, there's some over there in that bed. And then I don't really see any more because they're more off into the other side, like over there. But
all right, now anytime that you're working with any kind of garden, the best thing to understand is that you need to upkeep it, okay? And this is exactly what happens. If you take a look, we have some beautiful strawberry bushes right here, but they've kind of grown wild, and what will happen is that if you don't keep them tended, they'll start to grow smaller and smaller fruit. All right, these are kind of dying. They're getting dried up, and if they're not properly taken care of, these will die altogether. They may come back next spring, but they may not. They're planted way too close together, but they're still a very beautiful plant to have in your garden. We keep walking down this chive onions. We've got some lovely greens here. This is wonderful. Oh, and look at this. Oh, lavender. This is some beautiful lavender right here. And, oh, it just smells great. This is really great for different teas. Unfortunately, here's another example of vegetables that are just not being taken care of. And it's a real shame because, look, even on their own, they're growing some great zucchini, but you can see this one has end rot, all right, and that means that it's getting malnourished. But if you take a look, I mean, look, here's a beautiful yellow squash, yellow summer squash, and just with a little bit of love and care, these could be some great plants. I mean, take a look, as we keep going down, we have some great, we got some more yellow summer squash here. Those are looking great. I mean, luckily there's lots of nice bugs in this garden so that it's kind of pollinating itself. Even if it's just going on its own. We got some nice flowers here perking up. There's a little bit too much nitrogen in this soil, I believe, because I'm not seeing a lot of flowers. I'm only seeing a couple and a lot of leaves, all right? And you kind of want a nice balance between leaf and flower, or leaf and vegetable. Now, lettuce is fairly easy to grow, but some of the hardest varieties to grow are head lettuce. And if you take a look here, we just have some beautiful heads of lettuce coming on. Even as the weather is getting hotter, they're just looking absolutely wonderful. And if you could take a look and zoom in here, you can see that it's already forming a nice head. And some people, they like to go ahead and trim some of these larger leaves off and just leave the head. So if this was me personally, I would trim this leaf, I'd maybe keep this one on, you know, and trim these off so that it can continue expanding the head. But I mean, these are looking great. Whoever did these is just doing a great job. One of the last beds I wanted to show you, I had to show you this because look at these beautiful peppers. If you want to go ahead and zoom in on these, look, you can see that they had chopped these peppers a couple of times. All right, so that they're nice and bushy. The stalks are nice and thick and sturdy. These are a cubanelle pepper, which is a sweet frying pepper, and they're just going to taste delicious when they're on here. We already got some flowers, some buds growing on these. Pretty soon, hopefully, they will produce some beautiful peppers. I'm really excited about seeing how these turn out. All right, guys, well, thanks for joining us at our East Utica Community Garden. I hope to show you another community garden that is really close to me. They got some great things in there as well. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit like down below and make sure you subscribe.